this road of mine, this road that I go home, so am I wrong?
Hey, what's going on YouTube? It's Nate here with 7 Run Aquatics, and I'm coming at you today with a saltwater update. It's been a little while since I put out an update video on this tank, and a lot's changed. There's a lot new going on in here. I'm sure you guys can see some of those things, or spot some of those things. But we're just going to go kind of down my little itemized list today of some changes I've made, some new stocking options, as if it isn't obvious, that I've added to this tank. And then we'll go ahead and wrap it up. So yeah, let's go ahead and get started. So if you'll notice, which is pretty easy to notice, we did get some Gracilaria macroalgae, I believe that's how it's pronounced. Really like this stuff. I was talking to my buddy Chris Frame, who I work with, and he informed me that the macroalgae and corals can actually excrete growth inhibiting hormones or something of that nature into the water that, you know, essentially prevent each other from doing as well as they could be. So the macroalgae is not going to be in there forever. That's just kind of to reduce some nitrates that I've had. But until then, it looks pretty cool. So I like it. I've also got some of these guys in here. Not really sure what their name is. You know, I'm not a huge saltwater nerd like some of you might be. But they look pretty cool. They kind of look like little palm trees under the water and stuff. I did have some Caulerpa in here, but I took that out. It really didn't get enough of it. And I had trouble finding a spot to put it in. So let's go ahead and we'll look at the corals. Or actually, you know what? Let's go ahead and look at the new stocking decisions that I've made. So as always, we've got little Toby the Goby in there. Let's see if we can focus on him. Toby's doing well. He's chilling on the candy cane. He usually likes to chill on the corals. I don't know, you know, if that's good or bad, but that's where he likes to be. We've also got Chris the Chromis. Chris is doing well. He's been in there for a couple days now. I went ahead and got the smallest Chromis that I could get for this tank. I know they only get about 2.5 inches. So he should be able to stay in here forever, potentially. But I really like him. He has a lot of movement to the tank. It makes it interesting to watch. He is absolutely nuts when I go to feed. He's got something stuck on his head. I don't know what it is. That actually just came off in the power head, but he's doing really well. Really like him. Haven't seen any issues with him so far. If I had a saltwater quarantine tank, probably would have done that. But yeah, he's really cool. Enjoying him a lot. We've also got down here, we've got Phil the Flame Scallop. He originally was over here where this macroalgae was when I first put him in. Tore up the entire hardscape almost, and a lot of the macroalgae I'd placed, just getting himself over here. But he's doing pretty well. I'm spot feeding him twice a week with Daphnia and baby brine shrimp. He seems to be doing well with that. I've only had him like less than a week, so not much to report on this guy. But he seems to be doing well and enjoying the new tank. I just did a water change, so hopefully everything's looking really nice and clean, and got my nitrates down, and yeah, I'm really enjoying Phil in here. You know, he adds a different kind of a different element to the tank. We've got, maybe we'll be able to see him. Oops, sorry about my finger there. No, he was in that hole, or he might come out, I don't know. But we've got Pepe, the peppermint shrimp. You can see this kind of a common theme I'm going on with the names of my different animals in here. Only thing I don't name is the crabs, just because they all look the same, other than maybe some different sizes. But let's go ahead and do a coral report. All the corals are going to be pretty much in. I mean, I have softies, but you know, they're going to be hiding because I did the water change and I actually took it down. So if that's the entire tank there, I took it down to about halfway on the GSP on the right there. So about 40, about 50 to 60%. And I find that really does wonders for the water. But let's go ahead and we'll start on the left and we'll move over. So here we have my orange zoas. They haven't really been doing that much, and I don't know why my zoas really haven't been doing much just in general. But they're really tiny. They are opening more often nowadays. I think that's just because I'm getting my dosing and my water change schedule and all that dialed in a little bit better. But they're doing well. And then the same goes for my bluish purple zoas over here. I did actually acquire some coral glue because my hermit crabs were just absolutely tearing apart all my corals. I would come in from work and they'd be on the ground or they'd be somewhere where they shouldn't be. So finally got coral glue, finally got them posted down where I want them to stay. Moving down, we've got the green candy cane here, also glued down. It's doing well. It's actually got a little bud growing in the back, and looks like we've got some of the tendrils coming out of it. Probably trying to feed because I dosed some of the Seachem Aqua Vitro refuel in here just a little bit ago. There's Pepe. He's looking good. And then the green star polyp, which is starting to come out now because it's been about 40 minutes since I did the water change, is probably doing the best out of all the corals that I have. Within, I guess, a month of having it, I'll go around the side here. You can kind of see the plug, the frag that it was on, and where it started growing. And then if we move to the front, you can see we've got, I don't know, maybe an inch and a half of growth. I mean, this thing is really just taken off, and I'm really happy with how it's doing. And I had a conversation with a friend again the other day about, why some of the corals in my tanks weren't coming out. And, after going through parameters and lighting and different things that it could be, we agreed that I had to just test my water, which is, what you always have to do if you have a problem, and just, it's good practice in general. But I realized that I hadn't plugged my heater in since the last water change. So my water, luckily my house is warm. My water was about 74 degrees, and I'm thinking potentially that's why they weren't coming out, just because they were cold. So I unplug my heater when I do my water changes because I don't want to burn it up when the water level drops. And I noticed that just hadn't been plugged in. Luckily I just did a water change like 4 days ago because my nitrates were at about 15 parts per million. And in freshwater that's pretty good, but saltwater, you want your nitrates to be pretty much zero. And so I've been doing some water changes and noticed that was unplugged. And that's probably why my corals have been retracted for so long. But everyone's doing well. I'm feeding the blue legs, the Rapashi, Soylent Green gel food too. Not really sure as far as their dietary needs go, how good that is for them. I know the food's really good for plecos and stuff like that. That's what I primarily feed it to. But they seem to just gobble it up every time I throw it in. And most of the time they're actually racing across the bottom of the tank to get to it, because I guess they smell it or they sense it. So they love that. Toby and Chris are getting the frozen Daphnia still. And let's see if I can get it without messing the camera up here too much. But I also got, I don't know if you're going to be able to see that, Ocean Nutrition Prime Reef Flakes. A lot of the people that I work with swear by this stuff, say it's great food. I'm not huge on flakes most of the time, just because most of the nutrition from a flake food is lost within 5 seconds of it hitting the water. But as an everyday food, I think it'll do good for these guys. And then they still get their Daphnia. I'm thinking I'm probably just going to do Daphnia in the morning and maybe flakes at night or something like that. But they haven't really got onto it yet. I mean, Chris kind of just goes crazy when he's eating, and anything will go into his mouth. He doesn't really care. But he always spits out the primary flakes, and then Toby just doesn't even bother. He's been so spoiled on Daphnia for, the past 3 months that he doesn't want anything else. So I'm working on transitioning them over to the flake food. But yeah, that's what's going on in the Fluval Evo 5-gallon nano saltwater tank. Hope you salt heads out there enjoyed it, and we'll see you in the next, I guess, fish room video. Alright, I'm Nate with 7 Run Aquatics, and this has been a saltwater update. See you guys later.